Before we go into the BJP versus Congress debate, and Sanjay Jha again says that you are asking questions which only help the BJP here. Well, on some issues, you know, the Congress is on the back foot. What can we do about it? Let's take a first round from our panelists. Meghnad, Desai, 10 crore new jobs.
Well, you know, 10 crore new jobs would mean something like 1/4 more jobs than the total persons in a labor force. I mean, this is a huge
25% quantum jump in the labor.
Jump. And the question is not how many, but how are you going to create those 10 crore jobs?
Yeah.
First of all, if you have to promise to change the labor laws, which are preventing the growth of manufacturing. You have to have a different land acquisition rules, not the act the government passed, to liberalize the ownership of land. You have to have a big program in skilling. You have to have a big program in transferring people from the rural areas to the urban areas where the jobs will be. So yes, 10 crore jobs, but how are you going to create those 10 crore jobs? There has to be a blueprint. And that blueprint we are waiting for.
Okay, before we go into the political debate, Mohandas Pai, why can't we dream? Why can't we dream?
Well, we can dream.
We should always have a big dream. Companies grow when you have a big dream. Here's the time to dream big. Why are you smiling? How did Infosys grow while you were there? You dreamt big.
No, I agree with you, Arnab. We must grow big, but you know, when you have a government which has not handled job for the last 10 years, I don't know what big dreams that we can have. If Rahul wants to create 10 crore jobs in 5 years, it is not very difficult, Arnab. Just get 2 crore young people, 200 rupees a day, 100 days of job a year digging holes. That is 40,000 crores.
You're being sarcastic now. You know, that's not. That's typical Mohandas Pai sarcasm.
No, but Arnab, look, Arnab, for the last 10 years, if you look at the jobs, the formal sector jobs has grown at 1.6% a year. And the total formal sector jobs, as per the economic survey, is 2.9 crores in the entire country. Now you want to create 10 crore formal jobs, over 2.9 crore jobs that are there. I don't know how it's going to happen. Manufacturing is the doldrums. Anything that you do will take 1 year to take an impact, then you got 4 years, and to think that in 5 years you're going to create 10 crore jobs is difficult. Yes, you can do it over 10 years, but doing it over 5 years is a very, very tall order for somebody who has ruined the economy.
Okay, so, let's go to Pavan Verma. Now, then after that, I'll really open this up. And, Pavan Verma, my question to you is, just because Bihar has failed, just because the Nitish Kumar government's record on unemployment is awful, why should you assume that the Congress, and just because you don't have the optimism, just because you lack the optimism that Rahul Gandhi has of a turnaround, why should you, because I presume you will smash Rahul Gandhi's promise and not give him an opportunity?
Arnab, you are famous for asking provocative questions, but this takes the cake. Bihar has had a remarkable economic turnaround with 5 years of sustained highest growth of any state in this country, given the fact it is at the bottom of the least developed states. This has been nothing short of remarkable, and yes, this revolution...
Sir, your unemployment rate is 250% the national average. 1 minute. Since you countered on fact, let's throw a challenge at you. Your unemployment rate is 250% the national average. National average 3.8%, Bihar is 8.3%. Your unemployment rate in 2010-2011 assessed to be 16.8%, national average is 9.4%. So the only person whose track record is worse than that of the UPA is that of Nitish Kumar. Now defend yourself on these facts.
I want to come back to that, Arnab. In fact, that is precisely the reason why Mr. Nitish Kumar has been arguing that we have turned around the economy but can take it only up to a certain stage. Now we must create jobs. For that we need investment. 90% of all investment in India, both private and through government, goes to essentially 5 developed states, and there is hardly any incentive to come to the least developed state in the country. And therefore he has argued that for investment to come into the state, which creates jobs, there is a need for a certain framework of affirmative action which has been available to other states whose per capita incomes now are much higher than that of
So
Bihar.
you're with the BJP on this, I presume. So you're with the BJP on this.
And we take
You're with the BJP on this. So UPA failed. You're with the BJP on this.
Now that's another question. I agree.
Why is it another question?
I agree whether with the BJP or otherwise. I agree with the BJP or otherwise that this kind of promise made more for, to my mind, lure votes than to base it on any concrete either plan of action or track record of performance. Is something that must be avoided before election. Even the national manufacturing policy, which the Congress government announced and which it has implemented fairly poorly so far, promises jobs on a much more phased basis than this 10 crore creation. So therefore, I think this is another matter. You were talking of Bihar and I was answering that. And let me say as the last portion to what I say to you in response, these kind of promises made rashly are not the monopoly of the Congress. I think the BJP also needs to very seriously consider
the question
when
therefore
the leader says, give me 5 years and I will convert India into heaven. After the kind of dismal performance in Gujarat which has been covered over by a massive machine of publicity, promotion and projection, I think all parties need to exercise restraint.
Fine. Now, I think we'll go to MJ Akbar next, so that Sanjay Jha can respond to everyone together.
Yes, Arnab.
MJ Akbar, I'm sure you heard what Rahul Gandhi says and you know the import of my question. My question is 10 crore new jobs. If the economy rebounds, right, and if there is a turnaround possible, if the Congress party is willing to turn over a new leaf, even after 10 years, can you do away, by saying that Rahul Gandhi can't do this, would you be undermining the spirit of the nation? The spirit of entrepreneurship and the spirit and energy and confidence of 100 million new voters?
Arnab, surely the first question is, I'd really like to know what particular crime the young of India have committed that they haven't got these 10 crore jobs in the last 10 years. Which national and international forces were working towards a conspiracy to deny the youth jobs for 10 years? The statistics are actually astonishing. We are now hearing a promise that more jobs will be created in a year than were created over 8 years, according to the figures of the NSSO. You know, there are many kinds of jokes in an election campaign. I mean, a little bit of give and take is always, in fact, part of democracy. But there's also something called a cruel joke. And this cruel joke hurts worse. And this cruel joke is on the young. The young have actually waited for 10 years. You know, they've been betrayed twice. 10 years they waited. A person who was 20 years old in 2004 is 30 today. And if you have not given that person, a young man, a young woman, a job, you've actually destroyed his and her life. After this, you know, we have a muhavara in Urdu saying khayali pulao. This is the biryani of illusion. I mean, you can do everything to the young, but don't laugh at them. You have already done enough to damage them. And I think this kind of almost a hysterical promise absolutely suits nothing. Now, of course, the question has been raised here about Gujarat and so on, and I just want to refer you at the very beginning to a Goldman Sachs report that was issued last Friday. The Goldman Sachs is not any party's vehicle. The Goldman Sachs report said that if the good governance of Gujarat had been shown, another 40 million jobs would have been created. Now, these are independent bodies and, investment houses which are making this claim. And in fact, if you see, the private sector as well as the markets are responding on a positive note right now, is precisely because they expect to.
No, there are enough question marks put to the Gujarat model also. We're not going into that.
We are going to get somewhere, and we are going to restore something of what was lost of the Indian dream.
No, Mr. Akbar, I request you, because if you're going to discuss the Gujarat model, I have great respect for you, Mr. Akbar. and also respect for the several phrases which you have used in the course of your introductory comments, which hold the promise of much a good debate later, biryani of illusions, a cruel joke and a hysterical promise. Almost as sharp as your columns, Mr. Akbar, but may I tell you that if you want to discuss the Gujarat model, there are many question marks I too can raise on it, but I don't want to go into that.
No, Arnab, I was merely quoting a Goldman Sachs report because it mentions jobs and it is relevant to the debate. I mean, so let's restrict it precisely to the Goldman Sachs report.
Right.
And as you say, this is the subject of our debate, and we can take other issues later.
Yes, it is. And Sanjay Jha's hand went up
so
there.
It's only with the relevance of the jobs issue that I brought the Goldman Sachs report up.
I have seen Sanjay Jha in many moods on the Newshour.
And by the way, I read the Goldman Sachs report in Times of India.
Thank you. I have seen Sanjay Jha in many moods on the Newshour, Mr. Akbar. Tonight I find that he has listened to you with great intensity and sagacity, which I am grateful for, because Sanjay Jha is famous for interrupting BJP guests. He has shown you a rare privilege tonight, which he has not shown to many BJP guests. I think you should reciprocate it at some point when you have the opportunity. But Sanjay, come on fact tonight.
No, thank you, Sanjay.
Thank you. He's actually thanking you. Sanjay, look at this. Look at this. Yesterday, your finance minister admits that you have been an absolute failure in creating jobs. And within 12 hours, Rahul Gandhi says we are going to provide 10 crore jobs, which means an increase in job creation rate of 1,000%. Creating jobs at 10 times the rate that you did between 2004 and 2012. If this is not a khayali pulao, what is? I want your response, and after that I'll take a short break. We go back to the debate. Sanjay Jha.
Well, Arnab, firstly, let me tell you that I heard Mr. Akbar quote the Goldman Sachs report. Now, I'm going to tell him what the Goldman Sachs, I have some friends working there, but I'll have to be very honest about it. The Goldman Sachs report, Mr. Akbar has been saying for the last 5 years that India will become amongst the largest economies of the world, and that statement has been made on the basis of the UPA government's performance since 2004. So that's a huge congratulation for the UPA government. Point number two. While you are quoting Goldman Sachs, Mr. Akbar, let me tell you the truth of Gujarat, since you quoted Gujarat before I answer Arnab's question. And that truth is, in Gujarat, employment has been stagnant in the manufacturing sector. Now, you can quote labor laws, etc., but the truth of the matter
are we discussing Gujarat or India? Let's decide
not
first.
Just one of the central government. I have to respond to Mr. Akbar, because the Goldman Sachs has also been hauled up on several occasions for reports that have been questioned at a very serious level. So I don't want to quote Goldman Sachs. Let's come down to the fundamental point here. What Mr. Rahul Gandhi is saying is nothing new, Arnab. The national manufacturing policy that I think Pavan Verma mentioned is absolutely clear, has been announced. It is unique.
It was announced on 4th November 2011.
Has been at around
it's been a long time.
Let me answer. Absolutely. Manufacturing is not like an instant noodle. It has a gestation period.
Please.
And if you read the manifesto and the national manufacturing policy, they're extremely consistent. And you need to understand there's a lot of rationale and logic behind this. Give me 1 minute. The point that we are trying to mention is that manufacturing in India has to be moved up from 16 to 25%. Now you will say, how are we going to do it? You have a right to ask the question. But you must understand a manifesto is an intent, to fulfill a certain targeted belief that is in the interest of the country, the economy and development.
So from a promise it becomes an intent on the Newshour. And that will invite many a response.
Stop getting into nomenclature.
No, not nomenclature. I have to take a small break.
It's a promise. Okay, if you
I have to take a 90-second break. No, Sanjay,
and give me time, because you're giving more time to the other people.
Sanjay Jha,
I didn't interrupt you.
Listen to me, Sanjay. I have to take a break. I'll come back to you. 1 second.
The interruption trade I picked up from your almighty.
Yes, 1 second, Mr. Jha. I have to take a 90-second break. Right. Before I take a 90-second break, I'll say you have made an intent. I want you right now to check out the Wall Street Journal, 25th October 2011, to find out whether Anand Sharma made the exact same copybook 10 crore jobs promise after the national manufacturing policy was announced in 2011. And if since then and now nothing has happened, why should I believe you? You take 8 years to declare your intent, 2.5 years to do nothing after that, and you want people to buy the same promise. I'm back in 90 seconds. This debate continues on whether Rahul Gandhi's job creation offer can be believed. Back in 90 seconds. Only 90 seconds on the news.